Ken Grudens with the Indian River Land Trust. Hello, Ken.
Good morning, Bob.
So you guys have been kind of busy since we talked last.
We always stay busy. I mean, there's always more conservation work to do in this county, and we're celebrating one of those efforts or compilation of efforts on a property that a lot of people are aware of, even if they're not aware that the land trust has been involved in protecting, and that is there's a block of land north of the Barber Bridge on the mainland. As you come over the bridge going back west and you look to the right, there's a 2-mile stretch of green, 300 acres that the land trust acquired actually through 7 separate transactions over about a 10-year period. And that area could have been hotels, homes. There was even a proposal at one point for a boat ramp with a sea of cars surrounding it. And we're having an event out there this Saturday. We normally call it our annual members event, but we're opening it up to the community because we want anybody and everybody who is interested in seeing and experience this beautiful property right along a stretch of the lagoon called the Narrows to come out Saturday morning. We're having the event from 9 to 11:30 in the morning. It's supposed to be a nice morning. And we just ask that folks call the office to RSVP so we can kind of be prepared for however many people might be coming. So we're excited about sharing this property. Really, for the first time since we've acquired the big Keystone piece in 2020.
We know that's a very important piece of property, and I know, as you said, you've been working on it for quite a long time. And if anybody looks up and down the lagoon from a bridge or whatever, and you see a lot of green space, you can thank the land trust for a lot of that, right?
It's no accident, that's for sure. And between funds that the county has had through bond referendums that the land trust was able to promote and get on ballots and get supported by our residents, and the land trust direct acquisition, it's pretty unique shoreline for Florida. There's so much of that green that you see that really is protected forever. And it wasn't the case, say, 20 years ago. So I think people maybe didn't realize that those areas were vulnerable. Even though a lot are wetlands can be developed and filled through a process called mitigation. And so we always said the best way to protect any property is to own it and manage it for the wildlife and provide public access as appropriate to the property. So at some point down the road, we'll take a closer look. The board will look at this area, this property, and see what might be possible there. But the important thing is that we protected it from the development.
Yeah, other communities that have bridges across the lagoon, if you look up and down, it looks a little bit different. There's a lot of development going on along the shoreline, and that, thank goodness, is not the case here.
Well, I appreciate that. We also realize that development isn't just occurring along the shoreline. And so while we continue to look at properties along the lagoon or work on projects such as our Coastal Oaks Preserve Living Classroom project, we're also looking out to the whole county because there's development occurring all the way out to 95 and beyond. And so we're working to strategically look at wildlife corridors, waterways, water recharge areas to see how we can try to protect some of those areas, either directly or, again, in partnership with other agencies or governmental agencies or nonprofits to protect areas such as the south prong of the St. Sebastian River, which runs sort of from the middle part of the county on this east side of 95 and runs north and out to the lagoon. And it's a really unique river, and we're working on, we've acquired a couple key properties along that river, and we're working on a trail system that will be called the St. Sebastian River Greenway. And we're actually working. You always ask if we have any other acquisitions on the horizon. We're actually looking at a couple of properties along the south prong that we're hoping to see protected forever.
Well, between the land trust and the county with their land acquisition program, they've been pretty active too. They've closed on some pretty important properties here recently, and that's continuing for both.
Exactly, it's been a great partnership, and it's been a good run between the county's first bond referendum in 1992, so more than 30 years ago, and the land trust kind of picking up where their last bond left off during the recession, and now the new bond. And the county is also looking at properties in the western part of the Indian River County, including some ranch lands, which is a really important area that is part of a state Florida wildlife corridor. And for the larger animals that move through the state, such as the Florida panther and black bear, and unique species such as the fox squirrel, which many people have never even heard of, let alone seen. And so we're also looking at that area to see what we can do to protect that corridor. And the headwaters of the St. Johns River, the Blue Cypress Lake out there, is really the headwaters of that very important river that runs north all the way to Jacksonville. It's interesting we have two rivers in our county that run north.
Yeah.
Not common, but it's interesting.
So tell us again the scoop on Saturday.
So Saturday morning, it's free, open to anybody that wants to come out and see what this property is all about. We ask folks to call the office to RSVP 794-0701. It's a morning we're going to have live music. We have a nice big sort of breakfast tent set up. We have some different booths that are going to be there. Some different folks are going to be working with the land trust as partners. We have the Indian River Mosquito Control District likes to set up and talk to people about the work they do. We have this long-standing program with the Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute called the Junior Scientist Fellows Program, where juniors and seniors from the 3 different public high schools and other schools come out to one of our properties all fall and into the winter to conduct research on this property. And they're going to be there sharing some of their findings. We'll have other folks who have a beekeeping demonstration. The Bush Wildlife Sanctuary will have a demo. So it's a nice morning to see this property and to share, celebrate the land trust.
And how do you get to it?
That's a good question. It's right off of Indian River Boulevard, north of the Barber Bridge. So you got to be coming from the south, headed north, and there'll be signs and a turn off to guide people into the property.
All right. Well, I'd like to go there myself. I have to talk it over with the boss first, but
that'd be great. It'd be great to have you out.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. All right. Well, Ken, thanks so much as always. I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks very much, Bob. Have a good day.
Ken Grudens with the Indian River Land Trust.